Greetings everyone, there's a race car here, and Happy New Year to everybody watching this video. With the first update of 2020 pretty much imminent, it's only appropriate that I get this review out for update 1.53, or the Christmas update. And obviously the 7 new cars added, a bit of a change there, and a new track that was also added. So let's dive into it. So, kicking things off, we begin with a car that I don't think anyone really saw coming, at least prior to the silhouettes. And even then, there were a few that kind of thought this was definitely the car that was going to be there, and a lot of people thought it wasn't. And that's the Toyota Crown Athlete G 2013. As you can tell, I myself have never heard of this car, so I'm pretty much a little baffled at it. And first impressions, just on seeing it, I was under the impression that it was going to be a bit of a boat of a car to drive around. Suffice to say, I was pleasantly surprised that was not the case with it. It's actually pretty well balanced, and it actually was a lot better than I expected it to. It's a surprisingly agile car, and it's not slow either. It's actually got some punch to it. It's not too bad. Next up, we have a bit of an icon in this here. That is the 1983 Volkswagen Golf 1 GTI. Yep. So this is basically the car that started it all, and it is unashamedly 80s about it. The square front end, the narrow wheels. I mean, pretty much a blast of the past. And, well, it's quite the fun thing to throw around, definitely. It'll even tripod if you drive it just hard enough. So, pretty much a pretty cool addition there. I want to say we've had this before in Gran Turismo 4. I could be wrong. But it's nice to have it here in GT Sport, especially with the physics being a lot less stiff when it comes to some road cars. So it means you can enjoy some of the more quirkier characteristics of certain cars, and this one certainly does that. It's not the fastest thing out there, but it's certainly a fun little thing to throw around. So overall, I like the addition of this car. It's one of those ones and it's another one of those things I didn't really expect, but seems to be a running theme here at this point. So next up, and continuing a seemingly interesting trend of yearly 911s, we now have here a 1995 Porsche 911 Carrera RS Club Sport. And of course, as you can see on the number ring, I'm once again showing how not so great I am on this track. But regardless of it, this is a pretty fun car to throw around there. It's as far as I'm aware, this is a homologation car for what Porsche would eventually be putting on the racetrack and racing in a very serious, obviously, things like the IMSA U class and obviously certain series around the world and all that in the 90s. A fun little car to drive around. It's kind of surprising, really, that there hasn't been a lot of people using this car, because it's actually quite fun there. I mean, obviously it's not as much of the bare knuckles, oh, better watch what you're doing kind of fun that the Porsche 930 1981 is, as was evidenced by the recent race I had. But it's still a pretty fun car to have, pretty good to drive around. And I'm pretty sure in more capable hands, it's definitely quite the car to have. And of course, coming to the end of the normal road cars here, is a car that back in 2018, I wasn't expecting it to show up in any way, shape, or form. But here it is. And that's the 2017 Ford GT. Now, nope, it's not the GTE car, so I'm just gonna save you the disappointment if that's what you were expecting. You know, because everybody else has it and blah blah blah, should have been here from the beginning, whatever. But there's a road car at least, and to my surprise, the road car, it's a bit more of a handful than I was expecting there. Now, granted, there's a bit more aero going on at the back than there is at the front, so that tends to make it a little tricky, especially when you get on the brakes. So overall, the car, it's definitely a bit of a wild one. A lot wilder than I was expecting it to be. I think in the proper hands and maybe with a proper tune, it can definitely be one of the better cars to have in its category. 700, I want to say. But it's definitely going to be a challenging one for those that were probably expecting it just to handle like a dream. And now, one of the 3 safety cars added in this update, another thing I didn't see coming. And we start off with the 2 that showed up December 24th. And that one of those is the Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat safety car. And I say safety car with quotations because, let's be honest, it's effectively a police car. I don't think anybody was for a second fooled at what it actually was when you have the bull bars that are so distinctive, as well as, of course, those blues and twos there. So it's a bit funny that that's what they call it, although I suppose calling it a police car just wasn't gonna fit too well there. And granted, yes, there have been a few police cars that were pace cars for some races, so I guess I can kind of see why. I mean, hell, there was an American pace car at the Nürburgring too. So I guess that's not too far out of the question. As far as how it feels, well, effectively like the Dodge Charger that's in the game. Hell of a ride, hell of a drive. I mean, not quite the Camaro Z01 1LE track package wild, but still definitely a car that you might want to be careful with your heavy foot if you drive it. And now you just finally get to act out your Need for Speed dreams with this car. Now on to the second of those safety cars, again coming out on the December 24th, and this is the Toyota Crown Athlete G safety car. Technically, you kind of already know based on what I've just told you about the normal one, so there's not really much to add about this, other than the fact that it appears to also be a police car, or it could be a pace car. Really, you could use it for either, really. So either you can chase down some crims around Tokyo, or you can pretty much pace a Super GT field around Metropolis. So, some nice little role-playing elements there. And the final of these 3 pace cars, this one of course was in rotation on December 31st, literally New Year's Eve, and that is the Renault Sport Megane RS Trophy safety car. Now, as far as I can tell, this in itself is a safety car, or at least looks a lot like the one that's paced the field before in Formula 1. So, kind of undoubtedly a safety car, this one. And as far as driving feel, well, again, pretty much like the regular car in the game, so not much changing there. The only difference with this is now you got a base car that you can lead, well, I guess you can't really lead a field of Formula 1 cars because there's only one Formula 1 car in there. But I guess you could lead a field of Megane trophy cars if you want, so there's that. And now on to the main star of this update, and that is, of course, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Now, this was a track that seemed like it was going to be out in the November update, or at least thanks to whoever the moron was in charge of the YouTube, pretty much seemingly decided to say that, oh hey, it's going to be on this update when it wasn't. But here it is, finally realized, and all of its glory there, even if that does include the overpriced floor mats. And one interesting detail that is very significant with this track's addition: GT Sport becomes the first Gran Turismo game where Laguna Seca is available in all types of times of day. So, which theoretically means you could recreate every single, every single one of its appearances from the previous games. You could reenact this appearance from Gran Turismo 2, reenact its appearance from Gran Turismo 3, although be aware the sun's on the different side for some reason. You can reenact its appearance from Gran Turismo 4, and its appearance from Gran Turismo 5. In fact, I think that's basically the default condition. But anyway, either way, a pretty much welcome addition. Definitely one that I absolutely agree to see there, because it's a series staple. It's effectively the circuit that basically introduced real world racing circuits to Gran Turismo, and this was the track that did it. And it's great to have it back. It's great to have it back, and it's a little personal note for me because it's also a track where I get to finally test American cars at that isn't Willow Springs. So overall, very enjoyable update there. Definitely many unexpected additions to the game there. Kind of hard to pick a standout considering it pretty much consists of literally every single thing that I did not expect. And honestly, really, I can't really pick one single one out of all of the summer cars that have been added because they literally are, none of them are what I was expecting to show up at all. And then of course, Laguna Seca. What else is there to say? Amazing track. Glad to see it. If there was ever a legacy track in Gran Turismo, it had to be that. Yes, it's a real world circuit, but again, it's significant for the fact that it's the first real world circuit ever added to Gran Turismo. So, a pretty welcome addition in my book. So, that's it for this review there. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you guys do enjoy it, please give this a like. Feel free to subscribe. Do not forget to tick that bell icon as it lets you know when I upload a brand new video. Obviously, look out Monday as more GT League videos will be out. This will be the last one from the Professional League, as it will be the X2014 Nations Cup. And of course, keep an eye out for the week because there is going to be a new update out. Obviously, the first update for 2020. So, anyhow, that's it for me, and I will see you guys in the next video.